Welcome to the How to Stop Dieting podcast, the info you need to know to stop yo-yo dieting. Thanks for joining me. Before we move on, make sure to leave a like or a comment, subscribe, and share it with a friend if you find this podcast or any of the other podcasts helpful. As always, I'll be leaving any links that I talk about in today's episode in the show's notes. Welcome back to another episode of the How to Stop Dieting podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk through the idea of how to build up motivation to begin exercising again. I think this question is something that really resonates with me when I was first starting out. I remember being in the army, 10 years ago, working out, and I was training 2 to 3 times a day, but I wasn't necessarily I was just doing that army style training. And so we also had the opportunity to do some gym workouts, or we kind of had some downtime between things. And so when you're not training in the army, this idea of training outside of it initially to me seemed really weird, because I'd come from this lifestyle where training wasn't something I did. I just ran every day because that's what I thought health and fitness meant. It meant running 5Ks or 10Ks a day. And so I remember trying to be motivated to exercise. I remember trying to struggle with this idea of what do I need to do to feel more motivated to want to exercise. And I felt that pop up a few times across my life, in and out of different areas, getting back into it and taking some time off from exercise, whether it be from injury or whatever the case may be. And then when I became a coach and I started working with people, and this would become a question that would happen generally when someone had some sickness or downtime or injury or whatever it may have been, but they had something that forced themselves to stop doing whatever they were doing. And they were trying to get back this motivation to start doing the stuff that either they were doing before that they found easy or easier to do, or that they were just really struggling with this idea of being able to get back that motivation to do it. And it always felt weird to me trying to give advice around this idea of what to do to help people feel more motivated for exercise, because I just really didn't know. I just do it. I don't know, that's what I just do. I just brute force myself to do it eventually enough that I start to become I just build up a routine around it. But the truth is, it was never really habitual. It was never really behavior based. That routine was just an external restriction that I placed on myself so that I forced myself to do the workout. It's probably one of the reasons why I struggle the most when it comes to exercise on being consistent with stuff. Initially, when I think about my lifetime of exercising and stuff like that, periods that I've found it hard to, be committed to, because I really struggled with understanding why. And it wasn't until I really dived into motivation, behavior change, all those learning aspects, that I started to figure out and put the pieces together on how to build motivation for people. And really for myself, I wanted to know for myself, how do I get myself motivated so that I can keep doing this stuff? Because exercise, nutrition, diet, and whatever it is, all of us, we all know that this stuff's good for us, right? I've not met anyone that's mind blown by the concept of telling them that doing some exercise and having your heart rate go up, good for us. We all know this. We're all told and taught this from a young age. So we all feel and understand that the topic or the idea of it is important. As human beings, that importance doesn't make us want to do this more, all right? We know all these aspects that are important to us, yet we don't do them. Same deal with any long-term behavior. It's really just baffled scientists for a long time as to why humans aren't able to do stuff around long-term behavior really well, why we struggle. So far, the concept seems to be we're short-term creatures. A lot of our hardwiring is predetermined on short-term responses to things, and that we kind of direct ourselves towards doing stuff eventually enough over the life towards the long-term. But the short-term is really where we have the most influence on things, where we're motivated to do stuff enough, or where we feel the most drive to act upon things. And so we act and tend to do things in the short-term, right? That's why we pick chocolate as a means to give us some dopamine or something like that, or eat some Ben & Jerry's, because that is a short-term decision that makes us feel good, as opposed to knowing that something that has a good outcome but is shows up over 10 years, 20 years, or whatever the case may be. It's really hard to see that investment come back. And there was this really interesting study where they asked people about him doing some, if they were given some free money and stuff like that, how they would take and spend that money and what they would do about it. And there was this portion of that they put aside into either investing for themselves or putting into a healthcare plan. Then they took that same people and they actually showed them an AI face of themselves a year from now or 10 years from now, or even as a senior citizen, and we're like, all right, now after seeing this, how more likely are you to put money around it? And so what was crazy with this is people view ourselves, future self, as like a stranger more than we view it as ourselves, unless you have some direct AI feature to be able to constantly berate you and say, do this for save money for the long term or exercise for the long term. We're constantly going to be faced with this question of, how do I get myself motivated to exercise? And so let's kind of circle back to this idea, right? Well, a lot of the times when it comes to this, our reasons for exercising are just not clear enough to us. And that's why we kind of fall off. That's where we don't understand that there's consequences to it. We know that there are consequences to it, but we don't understand for ourselves what the consequence is, right? So if we don't exercise, we know that there's a consequence of maybe not feeling good, or maybe losing a bit of muscle tissue, or maybe gaining a little bit of fat, or, over time it doesn't prevents things like dying early. We don't know that. And we as ourselves don't know that. We know that. We've been told this stuff, but we actually haven't felt that experience. And so because there's no clarity or no understanding of what our consequence is by not doing this, we tend to not act towards that behavior. The logical decision from that is this is what everyone does, is they think, okay, if it just needs to be a little bit more clear, I need to just go through and make my goals clear. And that's where this idea of SMART goals has come from. So you may have heard this, you may have seen it work, you'll definitely see this around from every other crappy weight loss coach out there. They'll talk about specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. They're criteria to make sure your goals are clear. Clarity isn't the only thing that makes us work on our goals. If it was, then we'd all have changed our behaviors because we've read that SMART goal acronym everywhere, right? It's rubbish. If it helped us, we would have changed by now. And the thing is, success leaves clues, but we don't. If it's not just clarity, what else is there? In some areas of self-determination theory, or some of our goal behavioral theories, there's this idea of clarity, and then there's this idea of value-based actions. So value-based actions are who we are as people and what we value or believe in, what our ideals are, what kind of traits about us do we like to act towards, and do things that pull us towards those, right? Well, generally, a lot of people share a lot of values, so I can kind of talk in some broad strokes here. Caring for people that you love, having a caring nature, that can be a value, and that can be something that drives you to help you change some behaviors. Now, caring is an easy example, so we can think about how do we make this motivation appear to start exercising. So if it's just clarity, it would be like, right, I need to work out at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to measure that by having some gym scanning my thing to check that I've actually rocked up and checked in. The action isn't actionable. Am I able to get up? Yeah, I can set an alarm at 6 a.m. or 5:45 to get up and go to the gym. Is it realistic? Yeah, I can definitely do that. I can see myself doing that tomorrow or sometime over the next week. Doing that once over the week, very realistic. Doing it 3 times, it's pretty real. It can be realistic, but we're starting to get a little bit more extreme. Doing it 5 to 7 times, unrealistic, right? 5 to 7 times when we don't have the motivation to do something tends to make us feel like there's this mountain of willpower that we have to accrue to get us to go, right, I have to do this 5 times to be perfect enough to feel like I've nailed this. And so that makes it feel resistant, and we go, no, it's not realistic. So 1 time, yeah, realistic. 3 times maybe is pretty realistic. Let's pick something like 1 time. Let's go with 1 time. So 1 time realistic and time bound, right? Sometime this week. So anytime in the next 5 days, I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. I'm going to get up at 5:45. That's when my alarm's going to go off, and the gym's going to do standing things, so that's going to keep me accountable. That is a way to use SMART, that acronym, to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound, to say, all right, that's the clarity of my goals. Now, that's cool, and it does help. It does give you some kind of indication on what to do, but it doesn't actually make you want to do it. Now, here's where it flips the script if we start adding some values in there. Say you want to do all of those things, and now the reason for doing those things is because by allowing yourself to exercise, it gives you the internal energy to feel like you can put aside some time to be more caring towards friends or family. Because when you don't exercise, you feel maybe less caring, or you feel run down, or you feel bogged down, or your energy's low. So if I exercise, I'm not just feeling good about myself or feeling good for myself, I'm feeling good and I can take care of others, which helps me feel like I'm living in congruence with the values that I want to be exhibiting. So it's not just clarity, it's like having some cost of understanding who you are as a person and what things drive you. That in turn helps you be motivated to exercise, right? So it's not just a SMART acronym, it's the cost of what you're going to do, and knowing the values that you act in congruence with, so that you can move yourself towards doing those things. Now, there's heaps of other aspects that really make yourself really understand motivation, and if that's something that you want to go through and understand, I do have a 7-day mindset challenge which walks through all these different motivations and how we can use them and what things we can leverage to make your life a little bit easier. And I also offer my goal setting session, a free goal setting session that I give to all my Vitality Script clients. It's actually the week 2 concept that I chat with all my Vitality Script clients with. And you go into my group on Facebook, the How to Stop Dieting group, and you can see other clients that have gone through and done this goal setting session, what they say with this, or even just other people that have gone through and done this, how valuable that they found this. This is something that I charge money for. That's a part of my coaching program that now I'm offering for free. So if you'd like to take a part and get a sense for how I coach, how I teach, and the motivational stuff that comes around this, we can definitely do that. We can go into it and really pull that out for you as well. So hopefully understand now the SMART goals, that clarity isn't the only thing that matters to help build out that motivation for exercise. Also, some concept of values of like who we are as people and what we like doing, that helps us move internally towards acting in congruence with the stuff that we want to do. If we don't have that concept, it's very hard for us to feel the negative repercussions of not acting the way that we want to be acting towards helping us out. Without that clarity, it's hard to not know that there's the consequences to us having inaction, essentially. Hopefully that cleared this up. That's what I do when it comes to people talking for motivation for exercise. Now, my things that I don't offer, I don't give out, and that you won't hear me talk about is just listen to some motivational music or YouTube videos or whatever to feel motivated to go. That's external motivation. That doesn't last. You need to use that every time that you go to the gym so that you feel motivated to exercise. Stuff that. What happens if you don't have the internet? You don't feel motivated to exercise. Write down in your journal that you're going to exercise. No, there's no accountability there because, again, journal is just a self-accountability and that doesn't help out with someone. You need the value-based stuff to understand the costs and that stuff. Everything that I'm talking about is the true things that actually matter when it comes to motivation for exercise. So the motivation to exercise is not something super simple with a band-aid approach of listening to some motivational YouTube videos or whatever the case may be. It's actually thinking about what motivates you, getting that clarity on it. So if you want to use the SMART acronym, go for it, but also going deeper and thinking about your values, thinking about why you're doing the things that you're doing so that they can couple with that SMART acronym to direct the things that you're actually trying to do, to give you the information you need to then act upon it, right? When you don't act upon yourself being caring, then you feel like crap. So you're like, hold on, I don't actually feel like crap. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up at 5:45 and go train because not only does it help me, it helps the people that I care about. Or if I don't go, I'm saying that I don't care about helping other people or I don't do that. When you think about that, that sucks, right? If it doesn't hurt in here, it's not actually powerful enough to help you out. So you have to do some bigger, deeper diving onto what your values and stuff like that are. But essentially, it should make you go, right, I'm feeling internally motivated to go exercise. If you're not feeling that, then it's not right for you and you need to refine your goals and refine your values and figure out what they are. Not acting in accordance with your values and not acting in accordance with the goals that you set out should make you feel like crap if you do it, because essentially you're saying, this value doesn't matter to me. And when I say something like that, I feel this internal tug of war where I'm like, hold on, I don't want to feel that bad. I'm going to do this because this matters to me. It makes sense to me. I understand why. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Thanks very much for joining me here. And next time we'll be speaking about some more motivation, some more nutrition, some more exercise. So stay tuned and I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks very much. Alrighty, take care. Bye-bye.